after this, the price definitely gotta go up. Yeah.
What you expect? Told you I wanted, I got it.
All right, back at it. What you expect? Back at it with the Versus NBA edition. This is just a topic that I feel people need to hear, and I briefed it to them during the intermission. I kind of told them about it, and their response to it wasn't really.
No.
It was somewhat receptive, but then somewhat astonished. So I just need to clear it up, and I'm gonna just jump out there into it and put it out there. Paul George is better than Kawhi Leonard, and you're only as good as your surrounding pieces. I believe that. I believe your talent will only show with like the pieces around you, your true talent. You know, that it stands strong for Draymond Green because you put him on the Pistons, he's not worth $3. It stands strong, and even in other sports for Dak Prescott, because you put him on the Eagles and he ain't worth $10. So I believe that Kawhi has always been surrounded with great front office as well as a great surrounding parts for a team. He comes into a legendary organization. He comes into a legendary coach. He comes into the best power forward to ever play, probably Tim Duncan. I mean, let's just be honest. He's probably like the best man ever alive. Like, give me something bad you've heard about Tim Duncan, except that he wasn't on the court when Chris Bosh got that rebound, you know? This is what Kawhi is coming into. Paul George came into Danny Granger, unstable. Roy Hibbert, what is that?
Right.
You know, C.J. Watson, C.J. Miles. I don't know, C.J. Watson and C.J. Miles. You know, Paul George comes into that and takes that team to the Eastern Conference Finals. Even though he's the younger person on the team, you don't think about Danny Granger taking that team to the Eastern Conference Finals against LeBron. You remember Paul George dunking on Birdman, blowing past LeBron. I can't even think of a time where I've seen Kawhi like shoulder a load for a season. Not even for a season, just for a moment, like some months, where Kawhi's been like the player of the month for like multiple months running, you know. Just for some months, you just like, Kawhi is just tearing these folks up. He's just killing everybody. Paul George will go 3 months averaging 30 buzzer beaters, locking up your best player, finishing windmill 360s in the fast break, and at the same time, he's still playing with Russell Westbrook.
Okay, wait. So, number one, all right. So and I don't want to turn this into like load management, but like, I gotta give Kawhi credit because, he's with us, the Spurs. The last year, he played 9 games or something like that, and you know they had all the issues that we found out afterwards about not trusting the doctors, all this jazz. So then, he probably was either A, healthy, or B, like they wanted to be super cautious with him when he got to Toronto. And I could hear what you're saying, and like I don't want to dismiss it completely because, yes, that Toronto team was close. They had DeMar, and then they swapped them. And, I mean, I know they got Gasol, like, at the trade deadline there. But
number 1 in the East cast.
But I gotta give him credit. I got to give him credit. Once the playoffs started, he played everything. And not just a shot against the Sixers, but, like, he played everything. And he, like, did it. And I know that if you want to be the person to say, oh, well, you know, the injuries in the finals with the Warriors, like, they still won. I hear you. But, like, what I say about load management is, like, he at least made the case where if he goes to this other team and now his new team is the Clippers, that, like, you could hear him out when he says, yo, I'm not trying to play 82 games. And you're like, all right, you're not trying to play 82 games as long as we get the Kawhi Leonard we've been watching for 60 games or whatever, then, like, we'll take that. As long as we get that, if we can, especially the Clippers, if we can get to the playoffs, which, I mean, they can get to the playoffs without him, then then we want you here. You're playing full minutes once we get to the playoffs. And that's why with the Clippers, and I heard you say it, I think it was like the first video we did, like I can't rule them out quite yet because if he's going to play like Raptors playoffs, Kawhi for the Clippers, and they can get all their ducks in a row with like their very loaded bench and their starters.
I hear what you're saying. I really do. Yeah, Kawhi came into a Spurs organization, arguably one of the best organizations of my lifetime for sure. Definitely, not arguably, definitely is one of the best. When it comes from the coach to the top and then all the way to the bottom. So I hear you, and I do think that that's an advantage that he had over Paul George. I do not think it's debatable, and again, this goes back into regular season. Hey, Paul George is, those 3 months straight, 30, awesome. And Kawhi is just pretty consistent. He just gets the job done. Because we'll get to the playoffs, and then we'll worry about the playoffs when we get there, right? Just to compare it to some professions, you might say. Like if you're like a tax accountant or something like that, and, around tax season, you can't go nowhere. You're in the office, you're working with these people, it's tax season. But you have PTO. So them off times, you can use your PTO. Those 82 games, Kawhi's like, yo, look, if you want me to be Kawhi Leonard in the playoffs, I need to be fresh. So I can respect it. Now, also, since we're talking about the playoffs, I mean, Paul George, he can be non-existent. He can go ghost. And as far as I'm concerned, I have yet to see that from Kawhi. Kawhi might give you a humble 20. If he gives you a humble 20, whoever he's sticking got 15. He puts 100% into both ends of the court. Paul George does as well, but at the same time, Paul George is not doing that consistently as much as Kawhi is doing it.
But
when it comes to
stay consistently and Kawhi in the same sentence comfortably without your tongue falling off. That doesn't make sense. Consistently and Kawhi don't make sense because consistently he needs a break. Consistently he has to. All right, just let me put on a little suit real fast. Hey, Lou, you go handle that. Lou, go give him 35 tonight and make sure that they remember you the sixth man. Or Paul George, I feel like, back to what we said with Devin and Donovan, he's not shouldering what Paul George is. And I feel like now Kawhi is starting to become – they start looking at Kawhi like, all right, Kawhi, now we can put this pressure on you. You got to really – you want to be bouncing around, winning over here, winning over there, like win over here now. I don't feel like Kawhi even – I don't put Kawhi in the same bracket with LeBron. He's not there to me.
He wins. The point of the game is to win.
Wait.
It's a difference to take, though. It's one thing to win and get there. Like, you was on the bus. And then when you got the bus to get to the playoffs, it was like, all right, now I'm here. LeBron is pushing the bus to the playoffs.
That's not the debate.
But I'm saying that's a different type of player right there. That's a different type of player who has to take their team somewhere, and it's up to them to do it. It's not even all the way Kawhi's blame. People don't even blame Kawhi for losing the finals against LeBron. People still blame LeBron. Oh, well, he missed a three, and Ray Allen had to hit it. People don't even blame Kawhi for that.
All right, wait. So I said in an earlier video that this is going to come up because it oftentimes has to when you look at people. For me, with Kawhi, when you look at who he was expected to be when he came into the league and what he's turned into, like that's something. Now, if you want to give that to the Spurs, I will not argue 1 second of that. I think Greg Popovich is the greatest coach. Like that.
I don't believe he's that if he's on the Hawks.
I think so. I think he's proven that.
I don't think so.
Okay, and maybe we're looking at the Raptors a little bit differently. Because, I mean, I can understand what you're saying about, all right, Masai Ujiri, we love him now. They had a ready-made team essentially there. Like, so I kind of get that. But he made that go. Like, not no disrespect because I love DeMar, but if you put DeMar in that, even with them getting Gasol, they don't get there. But and
Be honest.
that's a little bit of my train of thought. But like, I don't know, man. Like, so okay, here's what I was saying. So both Kawhi, and I don't know if anyone else has ever done this before, but Kawhi and LeBron are both in a position right now where if either of them wins a championship, they have led 3 different teams to a title. And I mean, I know Kawhi doesn't have the like as sexy of a resume, but if he can get that before LeBron, like it's kind of like the conversation, and I don't want to get into like the rabbit hole here, but it's kind of like what I was asking about, like what would 1 ring do for Chris Paul? I think that's what getting 3 rings with 3 different teams would maybe do for Kawhi versus what it would do for LeBron. All right, so yeah, that was a great discussion on that. Definitely wasn't necessarily planned, but hey, we're here to give you fire content. Definitely let us know what you think about that. We weren't expecting that either, so obviously that's what led to the conversation that you had. But I mean, this is definitely going to be really good to see once the league starts up. We get to see the bubble. And for me as a Blazers fan, seeing how Paul George didn't show up for that series against us, seeing what the Clippers do this time around. But again, if you haven't already, check out the episodes that we've had with our NBA edition of Versus. Beforehand, we're going to have more. And just in general, check out the videos that we're posting on our YouTube. Subscribe to that. Subscribe to the website. We got a lot of dope content for you. And check out our next ones that we got going on. Peace.